Hi guys, welcome to the very first episode of our ModCrush Monday vlog. I'm Bobbi, your host, and you may also recognize me as the Coquitlam Center manager. We're going to talk a little bit about stretching your ears today, the pros and the cons of each, and we're also going to get into a little bit of the history as to how stretching came to be. Have you ever heard of Etsy the Iceman? He's a mummy found back in the Alps in the 90s by a bunch of German tourists. He had over 60 tattoos and piercings. He had his actual ears stretched from about 7 to 11 millimeters. He's one of the oldest living mummies found to date with such modifications. So he was 45 years old when he passed back in 3300 BC. That means that the art of stretching is over 5,000 years old. Another historical figure that used stretching was our friend King Tutankhamun. He had passed away in 1323 BCE, making him a little bit more recent than our friend Etsy the Iceman. Now, stretching was a lot more common with the children of King Tut's time more than the adults. And you can definitely recognize King Tut by his beautiful, ornate hangers that he had worn in his ears, and they are the oldest found to date. Gautama Buddha, late 6th century BCE, also had his ears stretched. Legend has it that Gautama was predicted to be a great conqueror or a spiritual leader as a baby. Gautama's father really wanted him to be a conqueror, so he kept him confined to the palace walls and made sure that he lived the life of luxury to only have the finest things. Gautama wore very large gold earrings in his ears, and that is said to have stretched them down. When Gautama left the palace walls, he saw the real world and the poverty, and this ended up moving him to actually create Buddhism. He left his luxurious life to lead by example. This story is why long lobes are a symbol of enlightenment to all Buddhists. So various tribes in Africa and the Americas are known to stretch their ears as well. Depending on the tribe, this is used to flaunt wealth, status, beauty, and even for ceremonial reasons. With Western influences, some tribes are actually ending this tradition, despite the growing popularity in the West. Now we're going to talk about a little bit of these tribes and the tradition of their stretched ears. The massive tribes of Kenya still stretch their ears to this day. They use stone, wood, horn, tusk, and thorn to stretch their ears. They're even known to wear film canisters in there. Higher class Mayans of Central America wore jade in their ears. The lower class wore stone, bone, and wood. Gold was worn to celebrate the sun and corn god Quetzalcoatl. Now, Inca of Peru wore precious metal discs up to 2 inches in their ear. The Spaniards actually called them big ears because of this. So with the growing popularity in the West, there was a lot of debate over whether it holds the same cultural influences as it did, and we believe that it does. Historically speaking, stretched ears were a sign of cultural influences, such as status, wealth, beauty, age, and religion. So in the modern days, it is a sign of personal expression, countercultural attitudes, and our own way to redefine beauty. So in the spirit of this, I'm here to teach you guys how to stretch your ears. We're gonna go over a couple of the risks first. So there is tearing your ear, which is pretty self-explanatory. And then there's also this lovely thing called a blowout. Now what a blowout is when you are stretching a little bit too fast or putting a gauge that's too big in your ear. So what happens is when you put in your taper, a piece of skin called your fistula will literally blow out of your ear, and it kind of resembles the shape of a cauliflower. Stretching your ears can definitely become a permanent decision. Generally, the point of no return is a 2 gauge to a 00 gauge for your lobes and around 8 gauge for most other piercings. Now we're going to teach you how to stretch with the taper. You're going to want to apply a warm compress, or maybe even have a little bit of a warm shower just to kind of loosen everything up a little bit. You want to wash your hands and your taper with antibacterial soap. You're also going to want to apply your handy dandy stretch aid to around your ears and the taper. You're going to want to slowly apply the taper into your ear. Once you feel some resistance, you want to pop 2 O-rings on each side and leave that for maybe around a week or so until your body feels like it's ready to stretch up again. So please note, do not use any Vaseline as it does start to trap bacteria. You also don't want to be using any sort of personal lubricants, anything warming or tingling, as it'll kind of irritate your ear. Now, you do not want to use any organic materials such as wood, bone, or horn. As these guys are very porous, if you've stretched with them, it will start to harbor and hold all of the bacteria. However, once your ear is healed, absolutely throw some organics in there. Now, for me personally, I definitely prefer to use any sort of glass or titanium crescent tapers. I find that crescent is just a lot more comfortable and it's a lot easier to kind of go in. Now, another method of stretching is to use something called Teflon tape. So the very first thing that you're going to want to do, of course, is wash your hands and your taper, plug, or tunnel with antibacterial soap. Then you're going to want to apply 1 layer of tape around whatever you are putting into your ear. Again, you're going to want to apply your stretch aid to yourself and to your tapers, generally waiting around a week before you stretch up even more. Please do not use any tapes such as scotch, electrical, or duct tape. Not only will these irritate your ear, but they'll actually end up holding all that nasty bacteria. Now, when using weights, you're going to want to start off with the exact same process as we start off with everything else. You want to make sure your hands and your jewelry are washed with antibacterial soap. So once you have your tunnels in, you are then going to apply your heavy gauge CBRs, CBBs, anything that works as a weight. So using weights does reduce the risk of tears and blowouts. However, it can cause some thinness to the bottom of your lobes. We generally recommend using weights to help get that double flare in that's being a little bit tricky. One of the last and final procedures we are going to cover is using a dermal punch or a scalpel. Please, this is not a do-it-yourself process. You need to go to a reputable piercer to get this done. Using a dermal punch literally just punches a hole into your skin. This is generally used for areas such as your cartilage, or if you kind of want to skip a whole bunch of gauges for your lobes. While scalpeling is a curved slice to fit the jewelry into. If you have any questions about stretching, please feel free to drop them in the comments below. We would also love to hear any other suggestions if you guys have any ideas for our next ModCrush Monday. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like and follow us on Facebook and Instagram for all of your upcoming body modification news.